All right, it's now 25 minutes to 9 and we are on the last segment, on the last leg of the show today, still on Black and White. And joining me is a face that might be familiar to some of you, Wanjiku Mburu, who's an actress. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me today.
Good. And we're here not to talk about acting per se, but bring back George. Some of you might have seen the poster, and that is George Masharia, who one happens to be your cousin and your brother as well.
Right.
What happened to George, or the Georges?
The Georges left for work to go to Mogadishu. And in January 2014, on the 13th day, they were abducted. And so that has been our story since 2014.
Since 2014?
Since 2014, yeah. So no communication per se from them. And just one time, my brother called like 2 or 3 months afterwards, after the abduction. And so he called my father and he said that he had starved himself so that he could be given the chance to talk to his family. Yeah, so that was the only conversation or contact we've had since then.
Did he say where he was calling from?
Yes, he said he was calling from Mogadishu, that yes, they had been taken, they are together. Yeah, so he just wanted to talk to his family, you know, yeah.
And did he maybe happen to mention who are the abductors? Have they identified themselves?
No, no. It's just what we know from the internet, because that's where we got most of the story. This is how we came to know, you know, this is where they are. They've been taken from the internet. So we were just told local militia, and not Al-Shabaab, local militia, that this whole thing was business rivalry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Against your relatives or against your brother and your cousin?
The rivalry was between two business partners, rather. So what George and my cousin had gone to do, they're engineers, so they install, you know, maintain, construct petrol stations. They had done that earlier on for one of the partners.
Okay.
Yeah, so later on they went now, this current job that they were doing to install another petrol station, and so the rivalry is between these two people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it must be very traumatic and, you know, disturbing. 6 years on and not knowing where your brother and your cousin are. What have you done towards, you know, trying to possibly engage the authorities that be to engage? Because this is now even not just within the Kenyan jurisdiction, it's now across borders.
It's across borders. All right, well, definitely the first thing that we did was to try and get in touch with the embassy, and now from there, you know, go up the chain of command, so to speak. And from the onset, having spoken to the embassy, Kenya to Somali, we were told that the employer is a Kenyan citizen. He's dual citizenship, so he's Kenyan and Somali, but his business interest is here. So this is a Kenyan matter. So from there now we, you know, went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Internal Security, all these dockets, in the hope to get some answers. But I remember that earlier on from the embassy, we were told to keep quiet about it. The first thing was to keep quiet about it, and the second thing was that the government doesn't negotiate with terrorists. And so for the past 6 years, this is what we have been doing, keeping quiet about it, but following the chain of command. So now maybe the next question would be, why now? Why?
Yeah. And before that, what was the reason for keeping quiet? What was the reason or rationale behind keeping quiet about it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, it's as good as...
And this, which particular office is this that was saying that, you know, you need to be quiet about it?
From the embassy to everywhere else that we went, this is what we were strongly urged to do, is to keep quiet about it.
The question then is, 6 years on, one might ask, what is, re-energizing your energy to now begin talking about it and to create awareness and hopefully, get your brother back?
Right. I think, first and foremost, of course, it's 6 years. 6 years later on, and everything has been said and nothing has been done. And then my brother has, by the time he was leaving, he left a 2-month-old boy who now has turned 6 and is going to class 1. And so that is a constant reminder of how, the timeline. This is our timeline as a family. Every time we look at the young boy and we see time has gone. And the second thing is that after we had, late last year, we had a meeting with the government on the same issue. And in conversation, this came out, that there are 2 Cuban doctors who were abducted in Mogadishu hardly 6 months ago.
Right.
And the president went to Cuba to console or talk to the family. And
Here you are as Kenyans who you've not had from
6 years.
6 years on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, that was just, I just broke. And then I said, now, I mean, a life is a life, definitely. But
Absolutely.
but we are Kenyans. There should be some communication of some
and
sort.
maybe just to backtrack a little bit, you mentioned that it's your brother, not your cousin, who spoke to your dad.
Yes.
Okay, how long ago was this?
That was in 2014.
2014.
Yeah, like about 4 months after they had been taken.
And there has been no communication whatsoever from that time?
The communication that has been is through the employer, to the employer, because this is where the ransom demand came up.
Okay.
And the ransom demand came up to the employer. So there has never been...
From the abductors.
From the abductors. So there's never been conversation or communication from the abductors to us as a family. Yeah. So it was the employer, and the employer was asked by the embassy, or the embassy communicated to him, and he said then, in 2014, that he will do everything in his power to secure the release of my brother and cousin, and he has never spoken to us since then.
The employer?
The employer.
What did they give you the figure? How much were they asking for?
At that time, they were asking for $100 million US.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a steep amount. And of course, I would imagine that, as Kenya had mentioned to you, and I say Kenya, the various offices, they do not negotiate with, terrorists. Did they give a solution, or at least a way forward? Now that they don't negotiate with terrorists, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that's the thing. Nothing. I'm saying everything has been said, nothing has been done. Every time we go for these meetings, we are told that the government is doing everything it can to bring back the people, bring back my brother. And it's just not my brother and cousin who are there. There's so many other Kenyans who are out there. So even this, for me, is a way to create awareness and to reach out to all the other families who have people there and saying, I don't know how to go about it, but, let's maybe have Abductors Anonymous group, and then we can talk about it. Even counseling. There's nothing we've been offered. Do you get?
Yeah.
There's nothing we have been offered. No counseling, nothing. And every time that we would bring up the issue, people would say they want to assist. The government would want to assist. And we would be asked for names of the children, because, they have a family. Names of the children, and they're saying they're going to assist. And then when we mention the name of the employer, then the narrative changes. And then it becomes that I can't talk right now. I will call you back.
So what does that tell you? Is there something maybe that we don't know regarding the employer?
Yes. My feeling is that, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Nina knew you.
You get the feeling that he's untouchable.
This is what I am feeling, that this guy is untouchable, because every time we share this story, up till the point where we name the employer, everything is, there is hope. there is, oh my goodness, sorry, you know, the names, which school are they going to? Let us see how we can assist the family. And then we mention the employer, and then everything changes. And this has been 6 years for us.
All right.
Yeah.
And talking about hope, is there any proof? There's what they call proof of life from the abductors, yeah, that to prove that George, the two Georges are still alive, are still there?
There is no proof of life yet, but 6 years we have learned a lot as a family, and we've had some, you know, sources who of course remain unnamed and anonymous, who have told us that they are alive.
Location?
Yes, location, but definitely they are moved. They are moved after every so often they are moved. But through the sources, we have been told that, you know, they are alive. They are alive.
And I've seen a poster, Bring Back George, and you're also looking towards a fundraiser. Maybe just for clarity, what is the fundraiser all about? Is it towards maybe raising the ransom?
Yes, the fundraiser is to raise the ransom, so that then we can try and negotiate, maybe on our own. Do you understand? Because then there is no help that we are getting. Because $100 million, and that was 6 years back. I don't know how much they would ask for now. I don't know if it is for one person or two people. So even if we need help, this is all I'm saying, that we need help, and the donation line is just a way of saying,
of trying to seek that help.
Of trying to seek help.
But then the question then would be, how would you even manage to get to the abductors, even if you had the 100 million right now? How would you contact them?
See, again, these are things that on the other side, in Mogadishu, Somali, these are things that, you know, have been happening, are still happening, and so they are ready for that. There are people maybe we can call brokers, negotiators, that you can get in touch with. And then there's this case of a DEO who was abducted, I think, in 2013. And the father is the one who went and negotiated, went to Mogadishu and talked to the clan elders and started negotiations and didn't pay for anything. So this is something that, you know, they're always ready for. Yeah. So right. If we had their $100 million or whatever, then at least we have something to go and say, here, let us start this line of communication. All
right. We'll soon need to wind up. But the question is, what is it that you'd expect the government to do right now? 6 years is a long, long time.
Yeah.
And many people obviously by that time would somehow give up hope. But the fact that it's your brother, it's your cousin, you have the drive to keep doing this. What is it that you'd expect from government?
From government, I want to say that it is the President of the Republic of Kenya. I would ask him or expect him to put the employer to task, because he's the only one who can do this. The employer is a Kenyan citizen, so he would answer to the president. The president is the only person who has the power to tell him, pesa, toa pesa, or whatever it is. And also, he's the only one who can, if the employer will not give out the money, then he's the only one who can, you know,
do you see
authorize.
The ransom as the only way to get your brother back home?
Well, this is a business. Unfortunately, it is a business. This is a business, and it's the only thing they know or language is money. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we wish you all the best. And at this point, we would like to wind up. So I'll invite Trix. And, well, of course, also a quick reminder of that question that we had early on. But before that, I don't know, Trix, if you had anything you'd want to ask Wanjiku?
Sometimes we have international bodies coming in to help. I've heard of this happening in Nigeria. Sorry.
Okay.
Have you had anyone approach you, or would you like to make an appeal to the international community?
Yes, no one has approached yet. I would want to make an appeal. And I have a walk on the 28th for the same, just to continue creating awareness and to reach out now, because we have been quiet for 6 years, which is because we were told to do that, but now we are speaking out. Anybody who can help,
Should help,
we are open to that.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, that's where we wind up the show, and thank you very much for joining us this morning and also sharing your story. And we'll just look at some of the tweets. The question that we had asked earlier on is whether you think the cabinet reshuffle will enhance,